Before I begin the video, I'm just going to say that I have cats, so if you hear some noises in the background, it's probably them causing chaos. I don't study psychology, I just did things that helped me improve myself, so you can continue on the video. In 2022, I felt like I wanted to make a change after a whole period of me struggling with myself and not being comfortable with myself, not liking myself. I felt like I wanted to take a step. And for starters, for this video, the first thing that I did for myself is taking a comfortable step towards making a change. And what do I say about this? Well, I wanted to start my healing journey and wanted to get to know myself better and just be a better version of myself. 2022 wasn't a great year, but I did learn a lot of things about myself, and I feel like it was just a starting point to my journey. I did start with researching YouTube videos, and I found a lot of content on new versions of yourself, 2.0, self-healing, self-love journey. There's so many things you can find on the internet, and I didn't know where to start. So because of that, I started with therapy, and I did therapy for about 4 months. It worked very well for me, but I felt like I wanted to do something independently, and I was very proud of that because I felt like I was healed enough to do stuff on my own. Of course, if you have time and money to go to therapy, do it. But at that time and in this economy, we all want to save money, which is totally fine. And after those 4 months, I again started to research on YouTube, and I found a lot of videos, a lot of YouTubers talking about this topic. And I'm gonna list them here with what I watched, who I loved the most, which ones were my favorites. I'm still searching for new things for self-healing journey. So after taking this first step of actually taking a comfortable leap, after that I started to question myself a lot. I did a lot of talking to myself, and you can find this on Pinterest. You can type in shadow work questions, shadow work prompts, questions for yourself prompts. There's a lot of ways you can research this, but I prefer from Pinterest. It worked for me. And after typing a lot of my answers, I found out that there are a lot more problems with myself, more than my therapist did say to me, but I did go only for 4 months, so we were just beginning. But there's so much more to yourself that you don't even know, which is kind of scary to think about. But it worked. And after questioning myself and answering and getting to know myself better, realizing that I have flaws and issues, I had to accept them. So you have to accept at some point that you're not perfect, you're just a human being, you're just going with the flow. It's totally normal to have flaws. Everyone has flaws, nobody's perfect, we all know this. Acceptance is really important, and it takes a while. It really does, because when you accept something about yourself, you start to question if you really want to change something about yourself. That was my next step, because I was a people pleaser before. I would change everything about myself so I could feel more like I was in a part of something, even if I felt like I was more alone while doing that. So I questioned really what I wanted to change, what I wanted to change, and not what other people wanted me from me to change. And it really hurts sometimes, because you actually find your own opinions about yourself and your flaws that you don't want to change. And I will give you an example. I am a very emotional person. I love to feel a lot of stuff. I cry a lot, I'm emotional a lot, I get angry a lot. I get angry for other people, sad for other people, happy for other people. I'm just like that, and not many people like that, and that's totally okay. Realizing that you have your own people who will like you is the important thing here, and you shouldn't feel the pressure to change yourself from other people. If you don't like something about yourself, change it. If you feel like other people don't like that about you, why would you do that? Why? So after a lot of brought up emotions in past situations, I knew that I had to allow myself and actually accept those emotions that came back from the dead. And I really had to mourn. I really had to feel those emotions, because if I didn't, it would hold me back again. And I really had to focus my hobbies, and through hobbies I expressed my emotions. I did drawing, I sang and danced. I did basically everything. I journaled, I wrote fan fiction. I wrote stories, short stories, doesn't matter. It really helped to express my emotions through hobbies. So if you do feel like you have something that you didn't solve in the past, you can always do it with your hobby, because you feel more comfortable with yourself expressing it. And after that period, I also had to realize that life is a curve. It goes up and down, and you shouldn't dismiss the downside of your life, because the moment you go down, it teaches you something. And in that moment, when you do realize the lesson, you go up again. And that's just how the way it is. It will always be like that. And your self-healing journey, self-love journey doesn't end. You don't just start, play the part, and just end it. It just always goes. And I also had to realize that, because while I was watching YouTube videos on healing, I didn't realize that I had to always work on myself. I also noticed on YouTube that not a lot of people would talk about change in their methods. It was only an example of a few things that helped them, and they would just end the video. I'm going to tell you right now that while I was on my healing journey, I changed a lot of routines in my healing prompts. So, for example, for my self-confidence, I did look myself in the mirror and I gave myself compliments, and it was going great for a while, but I got intimidated for a second, and I felt like I was giving false realities for my body image. So I had to kind of back down from that type of healing, and I chose another route, which was singing. How self-confidence is related to singing, I don't know, but it felt amazing hearing myself and my voice at that time, and I got out of my shell. And after that, I started dancing. I listened to subliminals, affirmations. I still do. It still helps me. But sometimes you have to change the healing methods. It might not work for you at that moment. You will start to find something new, and at that moment you might go back or searching even something more new, and it's totally fine. Change is always there, no matter what. And after that part of changing my routines, I started to notice some parts of myself. I started to hear my inner voice, and let me tell you, it was so different. out of the whole list that I told you today, what I did that helped me, I think the part where I got to hear my inner voice was the best thing that helped me through my self journey, which I'm still continuing, obviously. But the moment that I started to hear my inner voice or inner child, inner desire, I don't know how people would say this, but for me, I do separate my inner child, my inner voice. My inner voice is kind of like my inner desire, and I also separate my past self with my past situations. Preach. What? That was controversial. Anyways, so with that inner, she wants to be a YouTuber as well. So after hearing my inner voice, I started to listen to myself, and that's the most rewarding thing that happened in my life. It feels like you're climbing on a mountain and you reach the top. It's just amazing. Let me tell you that everybody has their inner voice, but I have muted my inner voice for a long time, and it took a long time to be comfortable with myself and feel secure in my decisions, that I wouldn't back down if I wanted to do something. So after doing continuously things that made me feel good and happy, after doing those things, I started to hear my voice again. And it would go from a long day of just doing everything that I needed to do, and then the voice would pop up and would say, okay, great, you did this, let's now play video games, or sing, or dance, or we can bake something. It just, the list goes on, and the more you do it and listen to yourself, you get these rewarding points from your own body. It felt very, very rewarding. So I continue doing that. I still have issues with this part of myself. I also noticed that I could compromise with my inner voice. And for example, if there was a long day of working on something, work, whatever is related, and you hear your inner voice going like, okay, we can sing now, and it's late and you're in a shitty household, you can compromise and you can say, we can't sing, but instead of singing, we could write, because we're letting our voice out. It's still some kind of letting out. Or we could do journaling, we can do writing on computer, or using a pen and paper and just overall doodle or whatever. You can compromise with your inner voice, and that still feels rewarding if you don't have the time, money, or space. At least you could do with a compromise, and as long as you compromise, it still feels good as the original idea with your inner voice. I hope this helped you, and I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, give a thumbs up, comment down below what healing prompts helped you, and I'll see you in the next video. And until then, stay healthy and be nice to yourself, and have a great day. Bye!